Lee, here we go again. It's another busy week, of course, and as you go into it, you find yourself still well placed in the League Two table, despite a couple of setbacks over the last week or so. Just looking at it, and we all talk about the word confidence in football, how do you keep that confidence intact with your players when they've had a couple of dips with the results?
I don't think that will be an issue. The confidence is there within the group, within the staff, in terms of what we're doing, how we're working, where we are obviously in the league, some gentle reminders in terms of what we've got to do off the pitch on Tuesday. That has helped us get to the point we're at today. But the confidence will be fine. Look, we'll keep doing the processes we're doing. Yes, we've lost a couple of games which we haven't experienced this season on the bounce. But if you start then trying to come up with new ideas and new things all the time, you know, the players soon think, why are we moving away from what we're doing? We will continue to do what we do, deliver the same type of messages to the players and look to get improvements within the work we're doing.
Despite the scoreline in the midweek game in the Cup, you must have felt you got an improvement on what you were looking from the Grimsby game. And of course now what you've got to try and do is build on that, but cut out what you've called the unacceptable goals. Yeah,
the performance, the all-round general play, you know, obviously watching it back, you look at certain aspects. Obviously the goals are the frustrating part of it. You know, obviously a couple of good finishes in there, but what led up to the goals of what we've got to avoid. But the general play compared to the Grimsby game, you know, was much better. Final third against a team from the league above. Bags of experience. We found it hard at times. But what I do love is the resilience that the players showed. You know, we said make it exciting, and you know, watching it back, they sure did make it exciting. You know, and one goal off us, or maybe one more, for, you know, it gets even more. But that's what the group is. They kept on going all the way to the end, fighting. Yes, we know the goals we conceded are avoidable, and that's what we've got to cut out. But I have said in the past, you know, our games are going to be exciting, but we need to cut out the small errors in terms of leading into goals.
You are a manager that backs and supports the players, of course, and what you'll be looking for now is for your players to show that, yes, they've just had a little couple of setbacks, but they can bounce back from them.
Yeah, and there's bags of character within the group, and they know that. You know, we've mentioned, you know, a reaction and etc. But there's enough experience in that group to know what will be expected in the following games. Look, we've got a good run of games coming up, the festive period obviously. But again, it will be working how we've been working, not trying to come up with anything new and bamboozle the players. There's enough character in that building, in our building, to know what's expected going into these games.
Well, you're coming into a game where you're playing an Accrington side who are on the fringes of the top seven as well, and we all know what a fantastic job John Coleman and his assistant have done at that particular football club. Do you expect anything different?
No, they're a good team, well organised, high energy, aggressive. Like you say, John's done a brilliant job. Been there for a few years now, you know, a real good job, and it's brilliant that they're able to obviously get relegated and be in and around where they are. That shows the character within that group they've got. A lot, again, some players that they get from non-league, but also some experience in there. So it's going to be a tough game. It is going to be a tough game in terms of how they set up without the football. We know that, but we're hopeful, and you know, what's gone and what we've been saying during the week, that we put on a performance.
Well, you take out that cup result, you've got a real impressive home league record, haven't you? And there's no doubt about that. And I know it's one game at a time, but there's another home game to follow. It could just be that little bit of a part of the season where you can really establish yourself where you want to be. Yeah,
you have to draw on your home performances, and like you say, we enjoy playing at home. The fans have been great, the backing the players. We've obviously given them something to cheer about with the performances and results that we've had this season. So we've got to draw on that, and then we also have to be mindful that we can't just rely on our home form. You know, when we do travel away, which we've shown signs of, apart from probably Grimsby, shown signs of improvements in terms of how we set up and what we're looking to get away from home. But we'll definitely be drawing on the fact that we are at home. you know, I know they've got something out there about the Barrow game, haven't they? You know, so we're hopeful get a good crowd in that one. We'll boost that by putting on a good performance on Saturday.
Well, I usually start these interviews in the last few weeks talking about injuries and the treatment room. You did say they were improving. Can you bring us up to date with where they are, those players?
Yeah, Conor O'Regan obviously missed out on Tuesday with an ankle problem. We'll assess him today and tomorrow to see where he's at. We spoke to the physio this morning. He's still got a little bit of aggravation in there. Chris Long, we're hopeful for Barrow. They're upped his work earlier in this week, so hopefully he can get on the grass with us next week. But again, we're going to have to be, you know, mindful we don't rush them back and make sure they're right. Joel Taberner will be a couple of weeks yet. He'll just go for a follow-up scan to make sure that the bone is healed right. So he'll go for a follow-up scan this week, and then it'll be a couple of weeks from them. Charlie Colkett in the game. His hamstring's tightened up, so he's going to have to get assessed. We'll send him off for a scan to have a look at. And
Zach Williams.
Zach Williams just felt his ankle on Tuesday. He's obviously did brilliant to get on the pitch. He come on against Grimsby. I thought he looked good when he come on against Grimsby. And I think physically it was tough as well on Tuesday night. I think it just aggravated his ankle. But we'll be mindful of that, and we'll up his work leading into the game Saturday, and hopefully he can be up for selection.